All right, how's everybody doing today? Hotep. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, and writer. So it's Monday, May 13th, 2019. And I wanted to do this broadcast because I talked about this topic on my Sunday night show, the African History Network show, Sunday, May 12th, 2019, on Mother's Day. And we had such a hot show. You know, I was talking about the New York Times story about Trump's tax returns from about 10 years and him losing over $1 billion. I talked about the new Sandra Bland video that surfaced that she recorded back in 2015 during a traffic stop. I talked about some about the State of Black America report from the National Urban League, and how Russia targeted African Americans for voter suppression. And I also had Jice Johnson on dealing with the Black Agenda Tour 2019 that's hitting 7 cities. So we had such a jam-packed show and a lot of callers. I did not have enough time to really deal with the history of Mother's Day, okay? And I've talked about this some before, so I wanted to deal with this topic now because the history of Mother's Day is a very, very interesting history. And the woman who was really the founder of the modern day incarnation of Mother's Day, she spent the rest of her life trying to get the holiday removed from calendars because she hated what the holiday had become. It became very commercialized, okay? Her name was Ann Jarvis. And the holiday became very commercialized. And after it was signed into law in 1914 by President Woodrow Wilson, she worked the rest of her life to get it removed from the calendars. Okay, so everybody share this broadcast on your Facebook page. Invite your friends to tune in also. Then African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. Okay, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. Customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. How's everybody doing? Okay, so let's dig into this. Let's dig into this history here, and let me try to post this here on the thread of the broadcast. Let me post this on my personal page also. All right, so if we look at the National Retail Federation, NRF.com, National Retail Federation. When I do my research dealing with how much money is going to be spent for the various holidays, I go to NRF.com, National Retail Federation. So Mother's Day spending for 2019 is expected to total a record $25 billion, which was up from $23.1 billion. It was up from a record $23.1 billion in 2018, according to the annual survey released by the National Retail Federation. So a total 84% of U.S. adults were expected to celebrate Mother's Day in honor of their mothers and other women in their lives. Now, keep in mind, when we look at Mother's Day, right, it's spelled M-O-T-H-E-R''S. M-O-T-H-E-R''S, meaning possessive, not M-O-T-H-E-R''S, meaning plural. So when we deal with the history of Mother's Day, it was designed to honor your mother, not every woman you know who may be a mother. Okay, just so we understand. All right, I mean, you know, I understand people want to wish, you know, some special women they know Happy Mother's Day or at church or things like this. But just so we understand the history and origins of Mother's Day, when you look at how it's spelled, M-O-T-H-E-R''S, meaning possessive, not M-O-T-H-E-R''S, meaning plural. Okay? All right, so a total of 84% of U.S. adults were expected to celebrate Mother's Day in honor of their mothers and other women in their lives. Now, Matthew Shea, S-H-A-Y, who is the president and CEO of the National Retail Federation, said, Mother's Day spending has been growing consistently over the past several years, and this year's spending is expected to be the highest in the 16-year history of our survey. Okay, now consumers are excited to celebrate all the moms in their lives, and retailers are ready to inspire consumers with unique gift options. Now, while the number of people celebrating Mother's Day is in line with last year's 2018's 86% of Americans in 2018 were expected to celebrate Mother's Day, U.S. adults. Those celebrating are expected to spend more at an average of $196 compared with $180 in 2018. Consumers ages 35 through 44 are likely to spend the most at an average of $248, which was up from $224. And men are likely to spend more than women, with $237 on average being spent by men compared to $158 on average being spent by women. Okay, so we'll post a link here. This is just some background economic information dealing with the Mother's Day celebration. And when all the holidays come and I do my presentations and broadcasts dealing with all the holidays, I go to NRF.com, National Retail Federation, because I want to look at the economics behind the various holidays also. Okay, all right, African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network also. Email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I'm trying to post the information here also, and this is acting up. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so History.com, which is the official website of the History Channel, they have some good information dealing with the history of Mother's Day. HuffingtonPost.com has a few good articles also. I've read a number of different articles over the past few years dealing with the origins of Mother's Day. Okay. All right, so Mother's Day is a holiday honoring motherhood that is observed in different forms throughout the world. Now, the American incarnation of Mother's Day was created by Ann Jarvis, Jarvis, Ann Jarvis, in 1908, and she was the daughter of Anna Reeves Jarvis. We'll talk about Anna Reeves Jarvis in just a minute. So Ann Jarvis in 1908, and became an official U.S. holiday in 1914 when it was signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson. Okay, 1914. Now, Ann Jarvis would later denounce the holiday's commercialization and spent the latter part of her life trying to remove the Mother's Day holiday from the calendars. Okay, so this is a very interesting story and very interesting turn of events. Now, while dates and celebrations vary, Mother's Day most commonly falls on the second Sunday in May and traditionally involves presenting mothers with flowers, cards, and other gifts. All right. Now, when we look at the origins of Mother's Day, okay, we first look at Ann Reeves Jarvis, okay, of West Virginia. So the origins of Mother's Day are celebrated in the United States date back to the 19th century. In the years before the Civil War is 1861 to 1865. In the years before the Civil War, Ann Reeves Jarvis of West Virginia helped to start Mother's Day work clubs. Mother's Day work clubs. And these clubs were designed to teach local women how to properly care for their children. Okay, we look at the article from Huffington Post. Let's see, which one is that from Huffington Post? They talk about this. Okay, so also an advocate for peace, Ann Reeves Jarvis spent the Civil War years treating wounded soldiers, and after the war threw herself into her faith by teaching Sunday school in the final decades of her life. Okay, let's see, in the years leading up to the Civil War, West Virginia and Ann Reeves Jarvis began organizing Mother's Day work clubs to help improve health and sanitation, through women's education. Around this time, Boston poet and suffragette Julia Ward Howe, okay, these were the women, the white women fighting for, basically, and largely white women fighting for white women's rights to vote, okay. Julia Ward Howe also published a Mother's Day proclamation, okay. All right, so you have Ann Reeves Jarvis, the mother, who starts these Mother's Day work clubs in West Virginia, okay, in the years leading up to the Civil War. So these clubs later became a unifying force in a region of the country still divided over the Civil War. In 1868, Ann Reeves Jarvis organized Mother's Friendship Day, at which mothers gathered with former Union and Confederate soldiers to promote reconciliation. So the South, so Civil War ends officially June 2nd, 1865. We have the 13th Amendment ratified December 6, 1865. And the South is largely destroyed because of the Civil War. There's still animosity, still hatred between the North and the South. You have 4 million enslaved Africans that were set free from chattel slavery because of the 13th Amendment. Bridges are knocked out, plantations, some plantations destroyed. You have jails destroyed. All this destruction in the South. So you had some people who felt there needed to be a period of reconciliation between the North and the South. Even though the South was brought back into the Union, there was still hatred, still animosity. Okay, so in 1868, Ann Reeves Jarvis organized Mother's Friendship Day, at which mothers gathered with former Union and Confederate soldiers to promote reconciliation. Okay, you have to keep in mind, you had about 2.4 million people who fought, basically men who fought in the U.S. Civil War. About 620,000 were killed. Okay. Now, Julia Ward Howe, who was an abolitionist and suffragette, okay, fighting for the rights of basically white women to vote. In 1870, she wrote the Mother's Day Proclamation, which was a call to action that asked mothers to unite in promoting world peace. Okay. Now, in 1873, Julia Ward Howe campaigned for a Mother's Peace Day to be celebrated every June 2nd. Other early Mother's Day pioneers included Juliet Calhoun Blakely, a temperance activist who inspired a local Mother's Day in Albion, Michigan in the 1870s. The duo of Mary Towles, Towles, Sasseen, Sasseen, and Frank Herring, meanwhile, both worked to organize a Mother's Day in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Some have even called Herring the father of Mother's Day, okay, Frank Herring. Now, when we look at Anna Jarvis is basically responsible for what we know as Mother's Day, which was signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson in 1914. Okay, Anna Jarvis was the daughter of Ann Reeves Jarvis. Okay, so the official Mother's Day holiday arose in the 1900s as a result of the efforts of Anna Jarvis, okay, daughter of Ann Reeves Jarvis. Following her mother's death in 1905, Anna Jarvis conceived of Mother's Day as a way of honoring the sacrifices mothers made for their children. Okay, honoring the sacrifices mothers made for their children. All right, how's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on your Facebook page. We've got Dion, Chandra, Myra, Suzette, just a few of the people watching. I think these are all women watching. I don't know. Okay, share this as well. If you like this type of information, also you can donate to the African History Network. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. PayPal.me/the AHN Show, or visit our website AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, finance the Sunday night show, pay the bills, etc. Okay, and we have our DVD lectures at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, including Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization, where I deal with a lot of well-known and not so well-known African women in our history. This is a 4-hour presentation. All right, we have it on digital download also, so this makes a great gift as well if you want to give it as a gift also. Okay, so let's continue here. So Ann Jarvis, the daughter, okay? So Ann Jarvis conceived of Mother's Day as a way of honoring the sacrifices mothers made for their children. Now, after gaining financial backing from a Philadelphia department store owner named John Wanamaker, Wanamaker, John Wanamaker, in May of 1908, Anna Reeves Jarvis organized the first official Mother's Day celebration at a Methodist church in Grafton, West Virginia. That same day also saw thousands of people attend a Mother's Day event at one of John Wanamaker's retail stores in Philadelphia. Following the success of her first Mother's Day, Ann Jarvis remained unmarried and childless her whole life. She resolved to see her holiday added to the national calendar, okay? Arguing that American holidays were biased towards male achievements, she started a massive letter writing campaign to newspapers and prominent politicians urging the adoption of a special day honoring motherhood. And if we go back and look at the article from HuffingtonPost.com, following her mother's death in 1905, Ann Jarvis began petitioning for a national holiday in celebration of mothers everywhere. She sent letters to President William Taft and former President Theodore Roosevelt, enlisted financial help from Philadelphia department store owner John Wanamaker, and organized her own Mother's Day celebration in the Methodist Church in Grafton, West Virginia. Now, if we look at how Thanksgiving became a national holiday, okay, you have to go back and look at Sarah Josepha Hale. Sarah Josepha Hale is the woman who really is credited with creating the national holiday of Thanksgiving. And she went on a letter writing campaign, writing politicians, members of Congress, presidents. And it was in about 1863, during the U.S. Civil War under President Abraham Lincoln, that the first Thanksgiving was celebrated as an annual celebration. And this is during the Civil War, and Lincoln and others thought that there needed to be a period of peace and giving of thanks during this Civil War. Now, Sarah Josepha Hale, everybody knows what she is known for, but we don't know her name. Sarah Josepha Hale is the woman who wrote the nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Okay? She wrote Mary Had a Little Lamb, and she is the woman who is credited with creating and spearheading the annual celebration of Thanksgiving also. She went on a letter writing campaign as well, okay, in the 1800s. And here we have Ann Jarvis, who went on a letter writing campaign and petitioning politicians and things like this to make Mother's Day a national holiday also. Okay, so let's continue now. Let's see, History.com has an article dealing with the history of Thanksgiving as well, and I've went and studied all the origins of the various holidays. I do lectures on them, things like this. Okay, but if you go to History.com and search for Thanksgiving, they have some good information there. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so following the success of the first Mother's Day, Anna Reeves Jarvis, the daughter, remained unmarried and childless her whole life, resolved to see her holiday added to the national calendar. arguing that American holidays were biased towards male achievements. And we could basically say, especially at that time, white male achievements. She started a massive letter writing campaign to newspapers and prominent politicians urging the adoption of a special day honoring motherhood. Now, by 1912, many states, towns, and churches had adopted Mother's Day as an annual celebration. Okay? Yes, 1863 for Thanksgiving, 1863 during the Civil War. Okay, so by 1912, many states and towns and churches had adopted Mother's Day as an annual holiday, and Anna Jarvis had established the Mother's Day International Association to help promote her cause. Her persistence paid off in 1914 when President Woodrow Wilson signed a measure officially establishing the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. Okay, now this is the same President Woodrow Wilson who also in 1915, the following year, 1915, in late February 1915, had a private screening of the movie The Birth of a Nation, okay, at the White House. And we know the movie The Birth of a Nation rejuvenated the Ku Klux Klan, and all the negative stereotypical images of African Americans were depicted in this movie. The movie's on YouTube. It's a 3-hour silent movie. You can watch it on YouTube, okay? All right, so what happens next is that the holiday quickly becomes commercialized, and things are going to take a turn for the worse. And then Anna Jarvis, who helped to spearhead and create what we know as Mother's Day, the official holiday, is going to regret this and work to get it removed from calendars for the rest of her life. So Anna Jarvis had originally conceived of Mother's Day as a day of personal celebration between mothers and families, a day of personal celebration between mothers and families. Her version of the day involved wearing a white carnation as a badge and visiting one's mother or attending church services, okay, especially church services with your mother, okay? But once Mother's Day became a national holiday, it was not long before florists, all the floral companies that sell flowers and the flower stores, card companies like Hallmark, and other merchants capitalized on its popularity. Now, while Anna Jarvis had initially worked with the floral industry to help raise Mother's Day profile, the profile of the holiday, by 1920, she had become disgusted with how the holiday of Mother's Day had been commercialized. So we ain't talking about 2019. We're not talking about 1995. By 1920, she had become disgusted with how the Mother's Day holiday had become commercialized. So Anna Jarvis outwardly denounced the transformation and urged people to stop buying Mother's Day flowers, Mother's Day cards, and Mother's Day candies. Okay, she was verbal about this. She told them to stop doing this. So Anna Jarvis eventually resorted to an open campaign against Mother's Day profiteers, speaking out against confectioners, those that make candy, especially chocolate, speaking out against those that make candy, the florists, and even charities. She also launched countless lawsuits against groups that used the name Mother's Day, MOTHER''S, possessive, because it's to celebrate your mama, not every mother you know, not to put pressure on you to feel that you got to buy gifts for all these mothers. Okay, now just keeping it real, if you a man and you got like 7, 8 kids by 5 mothers, well, you should do something for them. Okay, you know, okay. All right, so she also launched countless lawsuits against groups that had used the name Mother's Day, eventually spending most of her personal wealth in legal fees. This is how much she hated what the Mother's Day holiday became. Now, by the time of Anna Jarvis' death in 1948, she had disowned the holiday altogether and even actively lobbied the government to see it removed from American calendars. So most people don't even understand this history. I'm not saying don't celebrate Mother's Day, don't wish your mom a happy Mother's Day, don't go to church with her. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying we need to understand the history behind what we celebrate and how this totally evolved into something that the founder of Mother's Day was totally against. This is not what she intended. Now, a 1924 story published in the Miami Daily News and the Metropolis detailed Anna Jarvis' distaste for what Mother's Day had become. Okay? So she talked about consumerism, florists, candy makers, greeting cards. This is what she said. Consumerism stinks. Okay? Quote, commercialization of Mother's Day is growing every year, she said. Since the movement has spread to all parts of the world, many things have tried to attach themselves because of its success. Okay, and let me go to I have a couple articles here. See, I have notes that I did like 2 or 3 years ago on this. There's a synopsis of certain articles, but I want to go and let's look at the one from Huffington Post. They had a really good article. The founder of Mother's Day hated what the holiday became. This was originally from May 8th, 2014, and was last updated May 10th, 2019. The founder of Mother's Day hated what the holiday became. Now, do you understand how much hatred you have to have for a holiday that you created to spend the majority of your wealth in legal fees to get that holiday removed from the calendars? You understand how much you have to hate what it became? So let me see. Let's look at this here. Okay, so under the heading "Consumerism Stinks," right? You have that. Now, florists are the worst. Okay, the next section. Anna Jarvis, the founder of the modern day Mother's Day, said, "Quote: the red carnation has no connection with Mother's Day, yet florists have spread the idea that it should be worn for a mother or your mother who has passed away. This has boosted the sale of red carnations." This is something florist created. That's not what she created. She was talking about a white carnation for your mother, not a red carnation. She said the red carnation has no connection with Mother's Day. Now, when we look at candy makers are also the worst. Quote, confectioners put a white ribbon on a box of candy and advance the price just because it's Mother's Day. There is no connection between candy and this day. It's pure commercialization. When we look at greeting cards, okay? Now this is gonna knock everybody out the box, because I buy a greeting card for my mom, usually every Mother's Day. Okay, it may not get there on Mother's Day, but may get there the day after or something like that, right? But but greeting cards. But I do call my mom every Mother's Day. I call my mom on Mother's Day and wish her happy Mother's Day. And also, I was at so a lot of those who follow me, they know I was speaking on Saturday, May 11th. I was the keynote speaker at the pre-Mother's Day African Ball that Queen Mother Oshandara organized in Detroit at the International Institute, and then the following day on Mother's Day, she had the the Mother's Day African Luncheon at the International Institute, and the keynote speaker was Sister Nubia Wardford, who did a fantastic presentation dealing with the queendoms of Kush. Okay, Kush, dealing with Nubia, the Sudan. Kush was really more of a region than an actual country, but it was a region in ancient Africa that encompassed Ta-Nehisi or Nubia. Okay, so she's dealing with these ancient African queens. So it was a fantastic presentation that she did. Okay, and we honored, they honored like the eldest mother there and things like that. It was a really good time. Okay, but it was African centered. Okay, so greeting card makers are terrible. as are lazy kids who just send pre-written cards. Okay, so here's what Anna Jarvis had to say about the greeting cards. Quote, the sending of a, now you know this is old because she said she's calling it a wire. You're dealing with the telegraph, okay? The sending of a wire is not sufficient. Write a letter to your mother. No person is too busy to do this. Any mother would rather have a line of the worst scribble from her son or daughter than a fancy greeting card or telegram. Okay, so she's talking about telegrams and greeting cards. Okay, so you notice it's old to talk about telegrams. So this is straight from Anna Jarvis, the woman who created the modern day incarnation, who created the modern day holiday of Mother's Day. Okay, so I'm not saying don't, wish your mom a happy Mother's Day or celebrate Mother's Day or things like this, but we have to understand how it has become totally commercialized and how she was totally against this. Okay, so, and once again, Mother's Day was designed to celebrate your mother, not every mother you know. Let's see, there was one other article here. Let me see, make sure I got all of it. And we'll come to some of your comments here in just a minute. Okay, let me post a link to this article here also. The founder of Mother's Day hated what the holiday became. This is from HuffingtonPost.com. Anna Jarvis may have had the best intentions, but quickly despised her own invention. Okay, quickly despised her own invention. Okay, John Ray. Yeah, so African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. So we have a few new advertisers. Now we got a few more spots left. So email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. And visit workingwithjohnray.com. Workingwithjohnray.com. All right. Now, John Ray is executive vice president with MyEcon. MyEcon is a personal financial success company and is African American owned. Now, do you know what income shifting is? Income shifting. Now, income shifting takes your money back from those who are taking it from you. That's thousands of dollars a year saved. Plus, we see plus they show you how to earn more. This is extremely important for African American women because if you've seen some of my previous broadcasts talking about Black Women's Equal Pay Day, which in 2018 fell on August 2nd. We know that African American women on average make 63 cents for every $1 that the average white male makes. So it takes African American women on average 20 months to make the same amount of money it takes a white male to make in 12 months. On top of that, we know that African American women carry more student loan debt than anybody else. On average, $30,400 when they leave a 4-year institution compared to about $22,000 for white counterparts. So African American women make 63 cents for every dollar it takes a white male to make, and they carry more student loan debt than anybody else. Okay, so when we look at income shifting takes your money back from those who are taking it from you. That's thousands of dollars a year saved. Plus, they will show you how to earn more. Okay, and also income shifting deals with a group of financial strategies that took John Ray from living from paycheck to paycheck to investing, not focusing on when the next check is coming. Visit his website, workingwithjohnray.com, R-A-Y, workingwithjohnray.com, or give him a call or text him at 248-292-2447, 248-929, 2447, 248-929-2447, okay? All right, and then secondly, we have another new advertiser. And African American business owners, email us at customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Current promotion is get 3 months for the price of one. And then also we'll take your 30-second and 60-second audio commercial and put it to the audio podcast of our Sunday night show, the African History Network show. We're on 8 different podcast platforms, and I've been doing that show for 9 years. Each episode gets thousands of listens also. Okay. Now, Darkmagentas.com. They specialize in creating home spa products based on nature's healing and soothing properties. Dark Magenta carries essential oil and cannabidiol infused bath bombs, shower steamers, sugar scrubs, and soaps. They include oils and herbs such as lavender, rosemary, eucalyptus, sage, cedarwood, oatmeal, shea butter, cannabidiol, and more. They also carry oil diffusers and 100% pure essential oils. Visit their website, Dark Magentas, Magentas, darkmagentas.com, and indulge in these treats for the body and the mind. All right, let's look at some of your comments here. We have, who else we have here? Let's see here. Let's try to pull this up. Post your comments here. Try to get some of your comments in and before we get out of here. But when you study the origins of these holidays, it's a fascinating history. Now, the most fascinating one is dealing with the history and origins of Christmas. And I have like a 3-hour presentation on that one. Ancient Kemet, the winter solstice, and the history of Christmas. And this goes back to ancient Egypt. This goes into ancient Rome and the festival of Saturnalia, and we know that the deity, we know that Saturday is named after Saturnalia, who's a Roman agricultural deity. So when you study the history of Christmas, I mean, this takes you everywhere. This takes you in all different directions. Okay, so we have Angie. How you doing, Angie? T. Scott. Same as De Beers did with diamonds. Okay. Michael Douglas said most holidays get commercialized like this too. Yeah, now that's true, but most of the holidays, now with Mother's Day, this is a newer holiday that's celebrated than, say, like a Christmas or a Thanksgiving, things like this. So this is a incident where the founder of a holiday turned against it because of the commercialization. Now, also, when you study the history of Christmas, and I deal with this in my presentations, going back to the late 1800s, the late 19th century, late 1800s, you had many Americans who started to feel that Christmas was becoming too commercialized also, when you actually did it. And I went, I've been doing presentations dealing with the history of these various holidays for years, but I did like deep research dealing with the history of Christmas. And then when you deal with Santa Claus comes from the Dutch word Sinterklaas, which means Saint Nicholas. Sinterklaas, which means Saint Nicholas. And you deal with the religious figure of Saint Nicholas, who was depicted as a older white man with a long white beard, and he wore like a red, kind of like a reddish white outfit, but he was a religious figure. Okay, and he's still Sinterklaas is still celebrated in Holland and in that area, like among the Dutch, things like this. But Sinterklaas had a sidekick named Zwarte Piet, or Black Pete. Zwarte Piet, or Black Pete. Black Pete was depicted, because Zwarte is in reference to dark or swarthy or black. Black Pete was depicted as having blackface with an afro wig, usually gold hoop earrings. He was actually dressed like a Moor, like a Moor during the medieval times. Oftentimes, this is who he was depicted as, because when you look at when you study the mythology behind it, and every year in Holland, there is a parade that they have, and they say they're honoring Black Pete, and they have all these white people dressed up in blackface with these outfits on, like from the 13th, 14th, 15th century, things like this. They have afro wigs on, the gold hoop earrings. They're really imitating the Moors. And when you study the origins of the story of Sinterklaas and Zwarte Piet, according to the mythology, it what it's really doing is showing the Moors being conquered. Okay, it was said that Zwarte Piet was, if I remember correctly, he was conquered by Sinterklaas and was made to be a slave, something like that. But what he does is for the children who are good, Sinterklaas would leave gifts for them. The children who are bad, Zwarte Piet would leave coal in their stockings. And this really is another way of belittling, ridiculing, dehumanizing the Moors, who were conquered by Europeans, who go into Europe 711 AD. They go into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, and they civilize Europe. Okay, they civilize Europe, and I'm trying to look for my book dealing with Christmas miscellany, because they talk about Zwarte Piet in there. I have some different information on it. Here it is right here. So, because I did like deep research on the history of Christmas. So this book right here, Christmas Miscellany, everything you always wanted to know about Christmas. This is just one of the sources for my lectures dealing with the history of Christmas. This is by Jonathan Green. This is a really good book, a concise book that deals with this history. But when we deal with, let me see, let me look at this here. What page is that on? We look at Sinterklaas. Let me see if I can try to find it quickly here. And there are a number of articles written dealing with Zwarte Piet also. Every year in like late November or December, you'll see articles about the parades they're having in Holland. Now, in 2018, there was more movement of them acknowledging that it was racist for them to have people dressing up in blackface in Holland with these parades. Okay, and what they would argue is that is not racist. They said that many of them claim that Black Pete, his face is black because he slides down the chimney and that's soot on his face. Okay, but the soot is not all over his clothes. Okay, why does he wear an afro wig? What's that about? Because Sinterklaas, St. Nicholas is not wearing an afro wig. So what's that all about? Let me see. I can't find it here. Let me see. Let me pull up around because I have a lot of articles dealing with Black Pete also. Let's look at this. And if you Google Black Pete, you'll see some articles on it as well. Okay, so Huffington Post has one. I'm looking at some of the articles I have bookmarked already. When this article come out? When did it come out? This is from January 23rd, 2014. Dutch Black Pete debate rattles country's self-image with claim of latent racism. Okay, and let me see. But once again, when you look at the history of the Moors, you see the history of the Moors all throughout Europe. You see it in their art, you see it in their language, and we see it in their mythology. Okay, so here's a good article. This is one I looked at before. Sinterklaas and Zwarte Piet, why a holiday has me talking to my kids about blackface. Okay. Sinterklaas and Zwarte Piet, why a holiday has me talking to my kids about blackface. All right, so this is one. This is from WashingtonPost.com, written by Tracy Brown Hamilton. And okay, Zwarte Piet is, according to folklore, an assistant to Sinterklaas and of Moorish descent. traditionally since Piet's first appearance in a children's book in 1850. Piet, Black Pete, Zwarte Piet, is portrayed as a very dark-skinned character with large red lips, curly black hair, and giant hoop earrings. When Piets appear in person, they are portrayed by volunteers in blackface. Okay, so now if you don't understand the history of the Moors, you don't understand who they are, don't understand what happened, you just look at this and just think, it's just a nice parade and people dressing up and they just remembering happy times, or they just want to make Holland great again, or make the Dutch great again, or something like that. But if you don't understand your history, you understand this is an attack on African people. I know AtlantaBlackStar.com has articles dealing with Black Pete and Zwarte Piet also. Okay, I'm just trying to pull up some of these other articles that I've read. Okay, blackface, Dutch holiday tradition or racism. That's one from CNN.com. So there is a real history behind this. Okay, and you'll see when Christmas rolls around, you'll see articles on social media about this. You'll see articles from thegrio.com and NBC News, CNN, things like this. Okay, and so be sure to look out for that. All right, Chandra, how you doing, Chandra? Who else we have here? Okay, Michael Douglas, Shauna, John Ray, Dion, Suzette. Okay, so check all that out. Look at the history of Mother's Day as well. Be sure to listen to the African History Network show Sundays 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. Superstation and Future Radio. I know Juneteenth is coming up as well, so I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to be for Juneteenth, if I'll be back in Atlanta for the big Juneteenth celebration. I spoke there last year. They do a huge Juneteenth celebration at Mosley Park. It's a 3-day event, so I have to figure out where I'm going to be. And be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Our DVD lectures are there. And then also I teach online courses, so we have them on demand. Also, we have a 10-course online bundle pack. You can go at your own pace. It's all recorded. Watch from all around the world. It includes ancient Kemet, the winter solstice, and the history. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Ancient Kemet, which is one of the original names of Egypt. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That's a 14-hour, 7-session online course that I teach. I do it thousands of years of history. And it's a 14-hour, 7-session online course. I do a PowerPoint presentation, I have video clips, book references. It's a really deep presentation. And then you also get Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization, and some other ones as well. Okay, so that's a 14-hour, 7-session online course. So the 10-course online bundle pack is on sale, $40, regularly $130. So we have it on sale for a few more days. We just posted the link here. It's also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. How you doing, Jolyn? All right, so look, we have to get out of here. Hey, remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent. And you see me wearing my shirt honoring our sisters as well, right? Okay, Ida B. Wells, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Michelle Obama, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, Ella Baker, Zora Neale Hurston, Angela Davis, Maya Angelou. You got Coretta Scott King. Who else we have here? And Nina Simone. Okay, Nina Simone. Okay, so what does this say? Black female legends. All right, so remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Okay? Remember, right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.